The Choose.
Hey everybody, welcome back to The Choose. I'm Anthony Hahn, joined today with co-host Brandon Howard.
How's it going, everybody?
Going pretty good, Brandon. Thanks for asking. But we've got a lot to talk about today as we sit now just one race away from the chase. But first, we have to get through the excitement we saw on Sunday at New Hampshire in what was one of the wildest races of the season. Before we get into our race recap, we want to take a quick moment to invite you all to our Discord server, where we've been having a lot of fun with race threads, chatting about motorsports, and a little bit of everything else. To join our Discord community, check out the description for an invite link to the garage. All right, with all that said and done and out of the way, let's go ahead and talk about the action on Sunday. Brandon, go ahead and you want to start us off?
Yep, starting us out. The start time for Sunday's Dollar Tree 301 was moved up by an hour earlier in the week as inclement weather was expected later in the evening in Loudon, but we did see a bit of rain in the afternoon that made a very interesting start of the race. NASCAR made the call to start the race under wet conditions, meaning every driver would have to start with wet weather tires on their cars. As pace laps got underway, Carson Hocevar would go for a harmless spin, and NASCAR brought the cars back down pit road to clear some of the standing water on track and allow a bit of the track to dry in the process.
Yeah, and with preparations done and after the drivers gave the all clear after a short delay, the pace car peeled off pit road as Tyler Reddick and Josh Berry led the field to green. But just as fast as we went green, we would be back under caution as pole sitter Tyler Reddick went for a spin out of turn 4.
We went back on green on lap 7 with William Byron leading the way as everyone searched around to find grip. SVG used the wet weather to his advantage to take the lead on lap 27, and as the run went on, a dry groove appeared on the high line. NASCAR threw a competition caution on lap 41 to determine the track was dry, and everyone came down pit road for non-competitive pit stops to put slicks on. Just before the caution, there was an issue with the one of Ross Chastain that put him behind the wall and out of the race early.
And we went back green on lap 50 with SVG still leading, but Ricky Stenhouse Jr. would find a bit of moisture still on the track in turn 4, backed his car around into the wall to bring out another quick caution. As we went back green for a short run to the end of stage 1, Kyle Larson found his way to the lead after restarting third and would cruise his way to a stage win ahead of Christopher Bell, Carson Hocevar, William Byron, and Josh Berry. Ryan Preece and SVG also picked up stage points, which was huge for them both in the chase Cutline battle.
Going into stage 2, 6 drivers stayed out during the stage break, and there were issues for some of those who came in, including both Christopher Bell and William Byron. Byron had a wedge wrench stuck in the car and had to come back in and have it removed, while Bell's team didn't have the tire tightened all the way as he drug crew member Blake Houston out of the pit box with him, costing each of them track position.
Yeah, and Blake Houston was okay in that little incident. He waved off medical attention. Scary moment on pit road there. Ryan Preece and Zane Smith, who stayed out under caution, led the field back to green at the start of stage 2 on lap 79. But 5 laps into the run, Carson Hocevar found a way to spin himself off the front bumper of Connor Zilisch. They made contact off turn 4, and Carson Hocevar just turned dead left for some reason, wrecked himself down the front stretch as Joey Logano and Austin Dillon also made contact and spun in a separate incident.
We went back green on lap 90 as Josh Berry fought his way to the lead just 3 laps later. Berry continued to lead as Ryan Blaney marched his way through the field and settled in right behind Berry in second. As green flag pit stops cycled through, Berry found himself back in the lead, but not for long as Ryan Blaney would take the lead on lap 149, where he would stay en route to a stage 2 win.
The leaders hit pit road under the stage break caution, where Ryan Blaney's pit crew would have trouble with the left front tire, shuffling Blaney back to 14th from the lead. Pit crew problems have plagued the 12 team all season. They had the 32nd ranked pit crew coming into New Hampshire, and they had lost a combined total of 128 spots on pit road this season, leading to another uphill battle for Ryan Blaney to overcome. Bubba Wallace and Josh Berry led us back to green for the final stage on lap 194, where Josh Berry would clear Bubba for the lead after a few laps of side-by-side action. Carson Hocevar brought out another quick caution on lap 203 after just losing it in turn 3. Just a few drivers came down pit road under this caution, including Denny Hamlin, whose pit crew must have not been expecting him to come. The gas man was the only guy that jumped over the wall in what was supposed to be a 4-tire pit stop, and Hamlin lost 7 spots when it was all said and done.
Josh Berry led us back to green on lap 209, but Bubba Wallace would take the lead a lap later. As the battle for the lead began heating back up with 77 to go, the caution was back out for Riley Herbst, who spun and made hard contact with the wall in turn 3. The wreck looked to be over until Connor Zilisch, for whatever reason, barreled his way into the wreck and gave Herbst another unexpected shot to the front bumper. The caution fell within the final pit window, bringing everyone down pit road for the final stop of the day. There was a mixture of strategy, with some drivers taking 2 tires and others taking 4. Blaney and Byron were the first 2 drivers off pit road on the 2-tire strategy, with Bubba Wallace and Ryan Preece restarting 6th and 7th, the first 2 drivers who took 4 tires.
We went back green briefly before William Byron's left rear tire came off, sending Byron around and into the outside wall, ending any hope the 24 team had for a good result, and bringing suspensions to some crew members not only next week at Daytona, but also for the first race of the chase at Darlington. Blaney and Briscoe led us back to green for the last restart of the day with 63 to go. Blaney would clear Briscoe and build up an almost 2-second gap over Bubba Wallace with 35 to go, but Bubba would claw his way forward as Josh Berry also climbed back through the field. Bubba shrunk the gap and got within striking distance as Blaney tried to navigate his way through the lap traffic, but Bubba had a huge lockup coming to 4 to go, and he never got close enough to challenge Blaney afterwards, as Ryan Blaney would hang on to win at New Hampshire, going back-to-back at the Magic Mile, and winning his 3rd race of the season in comeback fashion. Very, very good race on Sunday. I think that was probably one of the best races in the past 10 weeks, I think. A lot of passing going on, a lot of different players. Really good race. Congratulations to Ryan Blaney. So before we talk about, how this shakes up the points and everything and what to expect for next week and some of the other news, I do want to give a quick mention to some other notable results from the day on Sunday. Bubba Wallace, huge day when it comes to the Chase Cutline battle with that 2nd place finish at New Hampshire. That makes them, as close to being locked into the chase as you can be. We'll talk about that a little bit more after we string through these results. How about Josh Berry? 4th straight top 10 finish on Sunday with a 3rd place finish after leading a career high 73 laps. Berry is now the first Wood Brothers Racing driver to accomplish that feat since Morgan Shepherd did it back in 1994. Again, he's been a talking point of ours over the past couple weeks, fighting for a ride next year. It's been announced Jesse Love will be in the 21, so Josh Berry doing everything in his power to show and kind of audition for some of these teams and say, hey, I can do this, give me a shot. He's been doing a phenomenal job over these past 4 weeks. Shout out to Josh Berry.
And another person to note, Ryan Preece, another driver around the Chase Cutline, scored a crucial 9th place finish in his home track after running inside the top 5 for most of the day. So that was huge for him. Definitely needed that. And Ross Chastain's early mechanical issues resulted in a DNF and a 36th place finish, which has eliminated him from the Chase contention. So he's out.
Yeah.
It's crazy. We're winding down here.
I know. It's crazy to think, we're 1 race away now from the end of the regular season. We've still got 5 drivers who are alive and in Chase contention. Before we talk about the 5 that are still not officially in and the 5 that are still eligible, let's go ahead and take a quick look at who is locked in. First seed for the playoffs, or for the Chase, Denny Hamlin. He clinched the regular season title and the first seed in the Chase after his 7th place finish at New Hampshire. Obviously, Denny Hamlin, tremendous work through the summer stretch to cut into Tyler Reddick's points lead and then take it and build his own gap. He's clinched the first seed. I think he's going to be a guy that obviously we're paying attention to over the course of the last 10 weeks of the season. And we do have 12 other drivers who are officially locked in, that being Ryan Blaney, Ty Gibbs, Tyler Reddick, Christopher Bell, Chase Briscoe, Kyle Larson, Chase Elliott, Joey Logano, Chris Buescher, Carson Hocevar, William Byron, and Daniel Suarez. All right, and then looking at the other remaining positions in the Chase, 14th, 15th, and 16th, as we sit right now heading into Daytona, Bubba Wallace sits 14th in the point standings, 75 points ahead of Ryan Preece. Austin Cindric, 1 spot below him in 15th, currently 44 ahead of Ryan Preece, who holds the first looking out spot. Shane Van Gisbergen is the 16th and final driver currently in the chase with a 31-point cushion between he and Ryan Preece. Now, Brandon, who's on the outside looking in?
Go back up. I want to mention someone real quick. I just want to mention a name. Go back up. How about Joey Logano, man? I mean, we were talking about how he was probably out, like, what was it, 3 weeks ago? Where we were he's fringe, like he might be able to get, I don't know, like he'll probably fall out. I think I specifically said he's gonna fall out. But here he is locked in, and we're eating our words. So I had to point that out real quick before we get into who is outside of all of this. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely a tale of two seasons for Joey Logano. You know, the first half of the year, they just did not look like we would expect them to. You know, it was pretty bad results, and there wasn't a whole lot going for the 22 team, really all of Penske. But I mean, ever since pretty much the All-Star break, I mean, the 22 team has turned it around. I think, what did we say last week? They went from, I believe, 21st to 9th in points just over the course of 6 races. An insane turnaround by them, and you know, definitely a team that we're going to have to keep our eye on here as we head into the chase and get down to these last 10 races of the season. But yeah,
it's like a sleeper team almost.
Absolutely. Joey Logano, he really did make everybody eat their words. I think, you know, there was a lot more people than just us that were kind of counting Joey Logano out of all this. And it's like, as soon as those discussions started happening, Joey Logano said, all right, it's my time to shine. And I mean, what a even comeback just to make it into the chase. And, you know, I still think that he might be a guy that's a championship contender. So definitely a really good back end of the season for Joey Logano and the 22 team. We'll see if they can keep it going. I think they will. I think they're going to have a pretty good shot at winning this title when it's all said and done.
Yeah, it'll be definitely pretty interesting to see where they finish. But as far as outside looking in, as we get closer to Saturday's regular season finale at Daytona, there's only 2 drivers that remain on the outside looking in with a chance to make the chase, which is Ryan Preece, who currently sits at 17th, just 31 points behind Austin Cindric for this final spot. Behind Ryan Preece is boss man Brad Keselowski. I'm never going to say his name right. He sits 66 points behind the Cutline with Slim, but still achievable hopes to make the chase. So keep your eye on him. I don't want to make any sort of prediction or any sort of guess because I already ate my words with Joey Logano. So, yeah.
All right. So, what are the clinching scenarios for some of these guys? Well, Bubba Wallace has by far the easiest clinching scenario. He basically will do it as soon as the race starts. 75 points to the good. The most that a driver can score in a race is 76. There's an almost astronomical chance that he misses the chase, but it would require a very specific set of circumstances to happen where Ryan Preece would score every achievable point by sweeping the stages, winning the race, and earning the Xfinity fastest lap. He would also need Austin Cindric to outscore him by 32 or more points and also have SVG outscore him by 44 or more points. And by scoring a single stage point or just 2 points in the race in general, Bubba can clinch as soon as stage 1 ends. Almost a 100% chance that Bubba Wallace makes it in. It would take something
pretty easy to me.
Yeah, definitely the easiest clinching scenario there. Now, Austin Cindric, one of the other drivers that's currently inside the chase right now, he can clinch a spot by either finishing 4th or better, finishing ahead of Ryan Preece, scoring 33 or more points, or finishing 5th or better in any stage. Pretty easy work there for Austin Cindric, I think, especially at Daytona, a track where he typically performs pretty well, and we typically see him running up front.
Okay, moving on to SVG, he can clinch a spot by doing one of 2 things. One would be scoring 45 or more points at Daytona, or finishing ahead of Ryan Preece, which leads into Ryan Preece, who can clinch a chase spot both with and without a win. The first scenario is with a win and no stage points. Preece needs SVG to score 23 or fewer points, so that's how he gets in with a win with no stage points. Or the second scenario would be with a win and stage points, Priest needs SVG to score 23 or fewer points, plus the number of stage points Priest accumulates. For example, if Priest wins the race and gathers 10 stage points, SVG must score less than 33 points altogether. So lots of math here.
Yeah, lots of again, and I do want to point out this might not be entirely right. Based on what I could do and the math that I did, which I was never great at math in the first place. This I think is how it should go. But this could be wrong.
The third scenario would be without a win, Priest still needs to finish somewhere within the top 5 and outscore SVG by 32 points. So there was actually 3 scenarios, and I think I said 2 earlier, and I'm just kind of slow.
Yeah, Brandon's a little bit out of it today. He doesn't know what's going on. Okay, Brandon, Brad Keselowski. I know you love saying his name so much. How does Brad Keselowski get himself into the chase?
Yeah, Brad Keselowski must win to clinch. Dude, we're just gonna keep going.
Well, we'll just power through it.
He has to win the clinch. So he has to win the race, and even then, he'll need substantial help. Okay, so first of all, he'll need to win. He'll need to sweep the stages. He'll need to score the fastest lap bonus point. And in this scenario, he would still need SVG to score less than 9 points, and for Ryan Priest to score less than 44 points. If Keselowski wins and doesn't maximize points, he still has a chance to clinch, but he would still need at least 13 stage points, with both Priest and SVG having disastrous days. So he needs a lot to go right for him, or to go wrong for others, if you really want to put it that way. So yeah, that's how Brad Keselowski can clinch a spot.
Yeah, there's 2 guys that we have talked about, in this whole points picture that have pretty much they're staying put unless something disastrous or astronomical happens, and that's Bubba Wallace. Will almost certainly be in, barring something unprecedented, and Brad Keselowski will almost certainly be out, barring something unprecedented. The only, I think, real chance that there is for movement is with Ryan Priest getting ahead of SVG. Even then, I still feel like that's unlikely. My final prediction is that the top 16 will stay set. I find it very hard to believe that Priest or Keselowski will have the luck they need to make it in. Priest would be in a much, much better position had it not been for a 25-point penalty that the 60 team was assessed after Texas for originally wrecking Ty Gibbs. You have to think if Ryan Priest and his team miss the cut line by 25 or less points, that's going to be the first thing on their mind, and that's going to stick with them probably till Daytona next season. It just kind of goes to show, we talk about every point mattering. It really does, because we're sitting here 1 race left, and that penalty could very well be what the deciding factor is for if Priest does or does not make the chase. So something just to kind of keep in the back of your mind for Saturday night.
It's definitely a lot to keep track of, but we're going to try our best here over at the Choose to do that for you. So
yeah, and again, I would like to point out, I could have the wrong math in some of these. I tried to cross-reference from multiple different sources and do my own math. So there could be some things in there that are wrong. That is not an official, this is exactly what needs to happen, but I think those are the scenarios that we looked at and that we saw, and we kind of double-checked. So just, again, take that with a little bit of a grain of salt. All right, Brandon, let's talk about Connor Zilisch. Get away from the points picture. I'm going to go back to something that happened on Sunday, because Connor Zilisch did something that just makes no sense to me. If you haven't seen the video yet, Zilisch found a way to pile into a wreck that was already over before he got to it, locking up the tires and sliding all the way up track into a stationary Riley Herbst. This incident has been widely discussed online, with some DARFs saying Zilisch had no way to avoid it. If you don't know what a DARF is, it's a dumbass race fan. Those are the only people I see that are defending Connor Zilisch in this, because Brandon, okay, I showed you the video. You watched the video.
Yeah.
I want to hear your takeaway on this. Was there anything realistically that Connor Zilisch could have done different to get out of that wreck and to not pile into it? Or, I mean, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, it helps to like turn the steering wheel.
Yeah,
it
certainly does.
It helps to turn the steering wheel and go down. I mean, we watched the video, and at first, I'm not sure who was the first collision. I couldn't really tell.
So it was
Riley
like it started
Herbst with a little bump.
Yeah, Riley Herbst and Michael McDowell made a little bit of contact heading into turn one. And then honestly, it kind of looked to me like McDowell just dumped Riley Herbst. But that's how it started. And that was the end of it pretty much.
Yeah.
Until
I'm not really sure. So at first I was like, well, dang, that looked intentional. Like at the first part of the turn right there, looked very intentional, obviously. But then I saw the second half of that clip where I'm like, whoa, what the heck? Like, where did you even come from? And then if you watch, you showed me the angle like from within Connor Zilich's car, and you could hear his, I don't know, what would you call him, like his
spotter telling him,
yeah,
stay low, stay low,
stay
stay
low,
low.
stay low,
Before
stay
he even
low.
got to the turn, he was telling him to stay low.
I'm not really sure what they're saying happened, but he certainly had plenty of time to do something. I mean, anything at that point. Yeah, I don't know. It was very strange. I mean, even if you can't, let's just say for this scenario, let's just say that you can't physically turn your wheel to go to the low end of the track. Can you not turn it upwards to try to get into the wall and avoid the car? I mean, why was he wrecking in the first? Like, I don't know. It just was a very confusing. I'm still very confused at watching it. I'm curious to hear like what they are saying caused him to crash into Riley Herbst. I don't know.
Yeah, well, they're saying that, he just locked up the tires, which he did. If you watch the replay, he did lock up the tires, but he didn't do that until, I mean, he was in the turn. And you watch that in-car cam and you hear his spotter and you see the smoke in the accident happening out in front of his windshield. He had to have been aware something was going on, and then his spotter tells him, go low, go low, go low. At that point in time, you should, I mean, even if you just ran the normal racing line around the track, you're not going to get involved in that. Riley Herbst was parked at the wall all the way up the track. I don't know if Connor Zilisch maybe just panicked and slammed the brake pedal to the floor or what exactly transpired, but there's incidents where sometimes you're just a bystander and you think you're going to get through it and a car slides down track and there's nothing you can really do about that. Sometimes you'll hit oil that's been dropped down, or things happen. There are definitely scenarios where things like this happen and it's really to nobody's fault. But there was none of that for Connor Zilisch. It was just driver error, and I don't know if it was just a bad lack of judgment, thinking maybe Riley Herbst would slide down the track. But it was all around a very, very weird situation and a very weird wreck. I still just can't wrap my brain around how Connor Zilisch found a way to get involved in that.
Yeah, it was definitely crazy to see. I mean, I guess it is what it is. There's nothing we can do about it now, but yeah.
Well, if you want to sound in on the Connor Zilisch news, be sure to join our Discord server. We had a poll up about it where the votes that we had, everybody was pretty much unanimously in agreement that Connor Zilisch could have found a way to stay out of that. If you want to let your voice be heard, like we said earlier, go ahead, check the link in the description. We'll have our Discord link down there where you can jump in, discuss different accidents, things like that with us. Anyway, other stories from this week, moving past what happened at Loudon. For the first time since 2019, the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series will be heading north of the border, making their return to Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. I love this move. I always thought Canadian Tire put on a pretty good show It's obviously been a while, 7 years since the Truck Series has been there, but I think they're going to continue doing what they left off doing and putting on a very good show. I remember Chase Elliott getting a win there, dumping Austin Dillon on the last lap. We remember Cole Custer and John Hunter Nemechek beating and banging their way out of the final turn, and that's when I believe Cole Custer uh, jumped over the pit wall and tackled and started fighting with John Hunter Nemechek right there on the start finish line. So a lot of big moments and pretty cool things that have happened at that track. Some really good racing happens at that track. So definitely a cool one. I'm going to have that circled on my calendar for next year.
Yep, and speaking of making a return, NASCAR will be returning to San Diego in 2027 for another race at Naval Base Coronado after much success at the track earlier this year. NASCAR also announced plans to bring racing to another military facility in 2028, although there are no further details of that at this time. So I have some guesses on that, but
Yeah, I've got a couple guesses too. I've seen a couple people saying Fort Knox. That would
yeah,
be pretty cool.
that's number one that I was thinking.
Pensacola would be pretty cool. You think about the fact that they've got Five Flags Speedway down there. They could bring the Truck Series on for a race at Five Flags. What is it? The Blue Angels that are down there too. The Blue Angels doing the flyover. If they went to like Pensacola, that would be awesome. I think that'd be a really cool environment.
You know what else would be kind of crazy?
Pearl Harbor.
Honolulu.
Yeah. Yep. I've seen that floated around too. That would be pretty cool as well.
Or yeah, I guess it would be called Pearl Harbor. I said Honolulu. I mean, you get what I'm trying to say there.
Yeah.
That would be. I feel like that'd be awesome.
Yeah, that would be definitely a really cool show. I'm excited to see where they end up bringing this race to in 2028. I think it's a really cool idea. Who knows where it ends up? There's been some talks about NASCAR wanting to try to get it like a track in Colorado. Colorado does have a facility, a military facility like that. So keep your eye on maybe something happening in Colorado. But for now, nobody knows. These are all just guesses, but they will be working on bringing a NASCAR race to a different military facility in 2028. Now, earlier this week, a story began circulating saying that California Speedway LLC sold their last remaining parcels. It was once Auto Club Speedway, but as it turns out, NASCAR still owns that land. The documents that were circulating were actually related to a cancellation of an easement, from what I can tell, pertaining to roads that ran through the property. Although NASCAR still owns the land, though, I seriously doubt we will ever see the reconfiguration be built. Obviously, that was the plan for Auto Club Speedway, was to tear the original 2.5 mile track down, reconfigure it into a high banked short track. That would have been really cool. NASCAR still, I think, has enough land that if they choose to pursue that, they could do it. It would be very tight quarters, though. There are now warehouses being built all around that area, data centers being built all around that area. I don't think that we're ever going to see that happen, unfortunately. The plan was, I believe, 2023 was supposed to be when that reconfigurement was done. Obviously, that didn't happen, and now the track's been sitting dormant for so long with just nothing going on. I still think, unfortunately, it is a lost cause.
Utilizing my real estate expertise, granted, different states, so different laws, but the idea of an easement being canceled is kind of a hint towards, hey, we want to utilize this for something big. So easements are not easy to get rid of. So we should definitely keep our eye on that because, yeah, like I said, it's not easy to get rid of one of those. That means they had to literally go out of their way to seek cancellation of those because there are probably multiple easements if it's multiple roads.
So what you're saying is it might not be totally a lost cause yet.
Yeah, I mean, if they are actively like seeking full and entire use of that property, that would, you don't just go like you don't just get rid of an easement because you have no plans for that property, unless for some reason the state that's in, what would you say that was in, California?
Yeah.
Unless California has an easement law where easements automatically cancel after so long of a time. I'd have to look into that. I'm not an expert in the California market, but like I'm not licensed in California, obviously. But if I had to guess, I would say that NASCAR intentionally went out of their way to get those easements off of the property, maybe to build something, or maybe to use it in the future for whether it be warehousing or whatever it could be. Um, I would definitely I'll have to look into that to some more.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I knew this had something to do. I tried to kind of figure out what an easement was. I tried to get as much information about that as I could.
Yeah, an
Um,
easement is basically just it's something on the property that regards to like the use of the property of other people that don't own the property. That's not the legal definition, and like I said, it can vary between states, but essentially, like, let's just say that I own land, but you own a house behind the land that I own, and there's only one road that gets to your house. Well, there would be an easement on my property. It's called an easement of use. Basically, you can use my property to get to your property. So what's likely happening is there's other landowners around the surrounding NASCAR property that are using or need to use the property. I'm going to guess maybe it's no longer used. Maybe there was just like a business or a company or whatever was around that had that easement, or maybe it was a NASCAR adjacent company that technically owned part of the land and NASCAR owned the rest of it. I don't know. I mean, without looking into it, I wouldn't be able to tell. But um, in a
okay.
way, just from what I'm hearing right now, it kind of sounds like they're saying we don't want people to use this property because we're about to do something on it.
Okay. So yeah, so maybe the hope's not gone then for the future of Auto Club Speedway. Okay.
Yeah, you never know. You
That's
never know.
awesome. That's good news. Again, I still think it's highly unlikely, but if this is what's going on at that facility, yeah, we'll definitely have to keep an eye on this over the next couple of months and see what happens.
In other news, RCR announced that Austin Hill will be back in the number 33 next season, running his first full time Cup season. Uh, excuse me. This move was the most obvious route for Richard Childress to take, but I'm shocked and a little disappointed that Josh Berry seemingly wasn't even considered. Josh Berry has a higher average finish than Austin Hill this season, 3 more top tens than Hill has had in his entire Cup Series career, and Berry is already a Cup Series winner. I don't think Berry is necessarily a great driver per se, but RCR isn't a great team anymore anyway. And as brutal as this may sound, Austin Hill only makes sense if Richard Childress is content with back of the pack finishes. Josh Berry, in my mind, is at very least a step up from Austin Hill.
Yeah, I understand why Austin Hill filled in this season for, Kyle Busch. Obviously, that made the most sense, especially on that time pinch where it was, it's Thursday and we've got to find a guy for this car on Sunday. And obviously it made sense to stick with Austin Hill for the rest of the season. But knowing what we know about Austin Hill and seeing some of his other Cup Series results where he's ran races for over the course of I think maybe 5 years now, just a handful of races and what we've seen this season, I'm not impressed with him. Um, Truthfully, I haven't been impressed with Richard Childress racing in a while, but Austin Hill especially, I just don't really see much out of him that makes me think that he's the guy for this ride next season. Whereas you look at Josh Berry and the things that he's been doing, and again, he's not necessarily a great driver. He is better than Austin Hill, I believe, in the Cup Series side of things. He's proven that he can go out and get good runs. He's proven that he can get more from the car than what it probably should do. I know that he's not a guy that's really competitive, week in and week out, but he has his strengths. And he has shown that, when his back is up against the wall and he's got to get good finishes, he can do that. That's what we're seeing right now with this string of, top tens. Um, I assume that RCR and Austin Hill have been working towards this deal for a while. It just is kind of a bummer that Josh Berry isn't getting that ride and probably didn't even really get looked at for that ride, just because of what we've been seeing him do. And this is a guy, unfortunately, Josh Berry, he does not bring a lot of funding, and that's kind of the name of the game. Austin Hill doesn't necessarily bring a ton of funding either. But you've got support from Pack Rat and from Bennett and some of the other sponsors that he's had in the Xfinity series that I'm sure will be moving up and throwing some money at the Cup side of things. Whereas Josh Berry really doesn't have all that. And unfortunately, it is what it is. This is a money-driven sport. Um, and that's just how things go. But I'm still really hoping that Josh Berry can find a ride next year, at least somewhere, whether that's in the Cup Series or in the O'Reilly Series or, even in the Truck Series. I think he will find a landing spot, but I think he deserves to be driving on Sundays. All right. Looking ahead to the regular season finale at Daytona. Brandon, we know that Daytona is unpredictable. This is a 2.5 mile super speedway known for carnage, chaos, upsets, dark horse winners and things of that nature. Who do you look at as your pick for Daytona? Now, I want to do two here. I want you to give me just your run-of-the-mill overall pick for Daytona. And I want you to give me a dark horse pick too. Who's a guy that's a long shot that you think has a chance at it?
All right. Let's go with just my main pick first. All right. The guy that I'm most confident is going to win, Tyler Reddick. I think he's going to run it back. He got the win at the Daytona 500 at the beginning of the season. I think he's going to run it back. He's been kind of quiet toward the back end of the season. So I think this is going to be his week, and he's going to run it back at Daytona, get a really stellar finish. I think it's going to be really, really close. But for my dark horse pick, I think I'm going to go with Joey Logano.
Joey Logano, huh?
Yeah.
Dark horse pick.
Yep.
Okay. See, all right. I'll go ahead and give you just my overall guy first. Just kind of going and looking back at some of the recent Daytona finishes, I noticed a little bit of a trend since the introduction of the next gen car. There has not been a repeat winner at Daytona except for one guy, William Byron, who won the 2024 and 2025 Daytona 500. I don't think William Byron is winning at Daytona on Saturday, and I think the different winners trend will continue. Who's a guy that I feel like is always up front at Daytona, but doesn't have the win to show for it yet? Christopher Bell. I think Christopher Bell is going to have a really strong chance to get this first win on the season at Daytona, build some momentum going into the chase. I'm looking at him as my guy. Now, my dark horse pick, another guy that flies under the radar all the time. And this is a true long shot, I think, but one that makes somewhat sense. Cody Ware. Cody Ware is one of the guys that
this is out of nowhere.
What do you mean? What's out of
I'm just saying this is out of nowhere. Like
my pick.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, do you even know who Cody Ware is?
No, bro.
Have we ever talked about him before?
I don't think we've ever said Cody Ware on this podcast once.
Well, there's a reason for that. But when it comes to tracks like Daytona and Talladega specifically, Cody Ware actually has a pretty respectable resume. I'm just kind of going back and looking at some stats here. Cody Ware, it has a 16.0 average finish at Daytona since 2023. That ranks him 7th. He's got a top 5. He's got a top 10, a couple top 20s. He's led laps here before. I don't know. One of these days, Cody Ware has to break through, and it's not going to be anywhere besides a plate track.
So you think it's going to be one of the biggest races of the year?
I do. I really do, because it's so unpredictable, though. Like,
I mean, I respect it. I
don't know. Something about Cody Ware has just been kind of like, the name has been in the back of my head all week. And I've just been thinking, like, he might actually have a chance to do this. He like, all right, well, when we watch the race on Saturday, keep an eye on him and keep an eye on his name. You will see him way further up than he is any week. Most weeks he's running like 25th on back. He will be leading laps on Saturday. He will be around. If he can stay out of trouble, that's the hardest part for any of these drivers to do it, is to just stay out of the wrecks. He always finds a way to stay out of the wrecks and be around it at the end. And that's all you really got to do to put yourself in a position to do that. I don't know. I got a feeling about him. I don't know. I'd like to see a Cody Ware win. Whenever we come to these plate tracks, the whole thing is chaos. And like, what would be more chaotic and what would be like the craziest story if Cody Ware of all people ends up spoiling, the last race of the regular season and winning that? Like, that would just be that would just be ridiculous.
That would be insane. I'll give you that. But unfortunately, it's time. No, I'm just kidding.
Actually, Corey Heim is in this race.
Oh, he is.
He is in this race.
He is. I did not. I thought he was not in this race.
No.
That might change my dark horse. Hold on. I need to. Okay, I'm changing my dark horse from Joey Logano to Corey Heim. I did not realize he would be in this race. So it's Heim time, baby, in Daytona.
Yeah, wouldn't it be something? Corey Heim winning 3 races before his official rookie season even started.
I mean, we talked a few weeks ago. I mean, he's going to be a stud. He already is, but I think he's going to be a star. So I could definitely see that being the case. Like I said, I was not aware that he was in this race. I thought he was done for the year. So, that changes things. So yeah, sorry, Joey Logano. I hate to doubt you again, but I'm going to go with Corey Heim.
All right, well, there you have it. The two guys to watch out for Saturday night: Cody Ware and Corey Heim. Yeah, we'll see if either one of us is right. The odds are against us, but who knows? We've been right before. We've also been wrong way more times than I would like to count. But anything can happen, especially at Daytona. It's going to be a very good race. We'll be tuned into that. I'm hoping to have some people over, hook up the projector, have some beers. Of course, we'll be active in the Discord. Yeah, and some pizza. We'll be active in the Discord, chilling in there. So if you get in there, and we'll have a race thread pulled up for Saturday and all sorts of discussion. It's going to be a fun one for sure.
Heck yeah.
So, anything else we got to talk about, Brandon?
Not NASCAR related.
Anything non-NASCAR related that you'd like to talk about?
Yes, there is. So there's 2 things. First off, we really need to talk about your work performance.
Whoa.
You have been sitting at your desk playing with a remote controlled forklift.
Okay, now this guy,
7 hours.
That's not entirely. That's not entirely what's going on. I also stand up, go to the bathroom, and take a piss every once in a while. Don't let this guy fool you.
That's fair. That's fair. Second thing is we are really trying to get Fourth and Flood up and going. So if anybody has been tuning into that, we really appreciate it. The episodes have been pretty inconsistent, but Anthony and I are actually going to record an episode for that right after this. So we got some big stories to talk about. But overall, with the regular season finale coming up this week, I just wanted to say, I've learned a lot about NASCAR this year, more than I've ever learned in my life. I've really enjoyed my time on the show, and can't wait to keep doing it in the playoffs and in the off season some too. So, here's to a great Daytona.
All right. Yep. We'll see you guys next Wednesday. We'll be recapping and breaking down all the action that happened at Daytona. Hopefully discussing a Cody Ware win. God, please let it happen. It would be so fucking funny. But yeah, that's all we got for this week. I will see you guys next Wednesday, 1 p.m.
Peace.